We need to do another intro. So, real quick, here's what I want everyone to do. Say your name and then say what the podcast is about in like 30 seconds.
I'm going to tell you right now, John, that I, Matthew Sin, will not do that.
Well, then what are you going to do?
I emphatically refuse to state that the purpose of this podcast is to determine which character in a particular series, piece of media, book, whatever that we're talking about is the best. Because we've already done this twice before. To do it a third time is a disservice to myself, to Brandon, and I think to you. It's just disrespectful at this point.
Well, you know, here at Your Favorite Character Sucks, that's what we do. We repeat the process over and over until we have multiple winners. And then at the end of the season, we have a best of the best episode where those winners go head to head to determine which character is the best from the entire season.
Well, here's what I, Brandon Lee Nash, will tell you about this program, YFCS Pod, as we like to call it on the socials. I'm just here to argue with my friends about dumbass shit that most people don't really care about, but we do, and that's why we're here.
I love it. All right, thank you guys. On today's episode, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. So, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/YFCSpod. And people can go there and order episodes. And we've already aired a few of them.
Have we? Which episodes
Carol
might those be?
Baskin, Stranger Things. Did we do another bonus episode? Dead to Me, yes. And then we've got a few getting ready to record, which includes this one. Our friend Sebastian Young, you know, he didn't have to, but he was kind enough to subscribe to our podcast and support our efforts and vision. And
this is a bonus episode too, right?
This is not a bonus episode.
I think this is a bonus ep. I'm just getting bonus ep.
Oh, so
energy from this.
We're only recording for 30 minutes? Okay.
Am I wrong?
God.
Is this not bonus ep energy? There's no way that we could talk about this for that long.
So a bonus ep, we are only considering one character. And there's no, like, at the end, we're not saying who's the best character. But this episode, it might be a shorter episode if that's what you're thinking. But it will not be a bonus episode in that we actually will be evaluating every character in JoJo and deciding which one is the best.
What if I were to tell you that I don't think? I know that would come as quite the surprise, but...
Of course. Yeah. You don't think about it, you know.
Oh, I just don't think.
No, just that he doesn't think.
Correct.
I had... I thought that might be the case.
All I'm saying is to actively think invites impurity into my subconscious knowledge of the world at large. So I just don't think.
Oh no, you got it. It's all got to be like gut, muscle memory, reflex, gut. That's it.
Nut. Yeah.
Okay. So we are talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Adventure?
I want to say adventure.
I believe it's singular.
Yeah.
It's more than one though at this point, right?
More than one adventure.
It's
than
also
one JoJo.
JoJo's. Yeah, JoJo's. It should be with like an apostrophe at the end of the S. But I guess he didn't.
Somebody
know
look
it
up
should
the
be
actual name of this show.
It's JoJo's with an apostrophe S.
Did you have
but
the
then
audacity to say?
Singulars, Bizarre Adventure singular.
Okay.
Did I hear you just say that the author didn't know what he was doing?
Yeah. What's his name?
Araki?
Something Araki. Yeah.
That's
I
don't think anyone's ever said that before. This man wrote all 9 parts in his head before drawing a single panel.
Much like George R. R. Martin, he knew
He has a vision.
how he has a vision.
There are no inconsistencies or plot holes.
None at all. So if you haven't already figured it out, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, our good friend Sebastian, he paid us to do it. And you know what? He might have needed to pay us to do it because...
What are you talking about? I'd say that we
would've-
had watched this even before the inquiry was put in.
I had not seen a second of
You've probably
of the
seen
anime.
at least a second, just in GIF form.
No. Maybe.
You've probably seen like a Ara or something like that around there. Or...
And
You didn't see anything in your anime club.
no, because they didn't show it. We had the opportunity to show clips every now and then, but I guess they didn't show it. So they just talked about it, and I guess we ran out of time, and then we moved on to another anime the next week. But I stayed away from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because it just looked strange to me.
It is.
And then I watched the first 2 seasons gleefully because I thought they were hilarious. Like I thought it was, I was taking it to be like a One Punch Man Bobo
yeah, situation. I was going to compare it to Bobo.
Yeah, and I just was laughing my ass off at the dialogue. I thought was hilarious. I thought that
and the first 2 seasons is what consists of part 1 and part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and part 3, I think, right?
Season 1 is just the first 2 parts.
Chopped up, to be honest. Yeah.
Season 1 is the first 2 parts.
Okay,
part 3 is season 2.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So I liked Joseph and Jonathan. I liked those 2. I thought they were hilarious. And then I got into Diamond is Unbreakable, right? Or no? Which one? Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, dude. I wanted to fucking end my life so many times watching that season.
Okay, so
let me get some
so
clarification.
garbage.
So you liked it when the protagonists were white, but then when he was Japanese,
correct.
you hated
Yeah,
it?
it's actually a little bit fucked.
I couldn't follow it anymore at that point. Yeah, there's something about it.
I know. I think we're all in agreement that part 3 blows ass.
Yeah,
thing
it's just dated, and then the
I
monster
don't
of the
even
week
remember
thing.
any of it.
It's
I feel like I
drags on.
watched it,
so
but
forgetful.
you know,
It's so forgetful.
it is.
And you know, Dio being the villain in that one too. Like I always hear people say like, "Oh, it's so brilliant how it connects and it all connects," and I'm like, or it's lazy, like or it's just lazy. I don't know.
It was
Diamond
simply
is Unbreakable.
Dio came back and he's even stronger.
Diamond is Unbreakable. I liked a little more, but it wasn't as good to me as the first couple seasons. But anyway, we're talking too much about the show. We need to start talking
Which we
about the
don't want
characters.
to do, right? We're not interested in actually speaking to the show.
I will say in my presentation of my character just a little bit more because of like it helped decide my character. But who's going to go first? I think that the 2 people who enjoy the anime the most should go first.
Okay, well that's not me.
Seb, you got
That's
that?
either
Wait,
Seabass or
me?
Bran.
You assume?
Oh, you don't like the show either, Seb? Is what you're
No, I.
saying? You've seen the most.
That's true.
This dude paid us to do it, and he's like, I don't really care about this show.
Initially, I paid y'all to talk shit on Jotaro.
Oh yeah,
That's true, which we will do.
Oh, we'll definitely do that.
I guess the series as a whole deserves an episode. Yeah. So for this episode, I'm bringing to the table Rohan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right.
He spends a lot of time at the table too.
Kishibe, maybe.
Rohan the Nation.
Yes. But Rohan from part 4, dude immediately stands out to me. I love part 4, but among all the other characters, just because he's so weird and stylish, and I think there's some relation between that character and Rocky himself. They're both like manga artists, but yeah, that's who I'm gonna go with for this episode.
So isn't it kind of lame though?
A little bit, a little self-congratulatory and shit. Yeah.
But maybe also self-revealing too, like reveal some of his how he actually feels. You know,
Yeah, because there are some,
in the character.
I guess, like maybe insecurities that the character has. So
Obsessions too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of like the Sam from Game of Thrones. Like he is the author, right? He's like George R. Martin.
I wasn't even there for that episode. I don't think I wasn't invited for that one for some reason.
Yes, you were. You were sick.
Wait, is that the case?
Yes.
Yes, you were
Ah,
sick
shit.
or something.
We all got to my house and you didn't show and we called you and you're like, yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Fucking wish I were dead.
Huh?
Oh God. So yeah, you know where was Gondor when Westfold fell? I think is what you were saying.
Honestly.
Is that what you were saying? See,
I don't get that reference.
it's a Rohan reference from Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
We're just wondering, what can man do against such reckless hate?
Anyway, go listen to our Lord of the Rings episode from season 2. It's pretty good.
oh, me? Okay, I'll be back.
No,
in
our
an hour.
listenership. Our listenership.
Seb never
Just
even
return when
finished
you're
the
finished with
trilogy,
it.
so...
Actually, yeah, go watch the. They're all available on HBO Max now, I believe, the whole trilogy. So go ahead and watch those, and they're the
shit.
extended editions.
Oh shit!
So go ahead and hammer those out in a nice 12 hours, and then watch the podcast.
I cannot fucking wait to watch Dune. I swear to God, it's gonna be so good.
I assume it's going to be very mediocre to bad.
No.
The release of Wonder Woman 84 has really discolored
Okay.
my opinion of all future releases on HBO Max.
Okay. DC films and what they're doing with Dune is completely different.
That one was big poop. But we're not here to discuss Wonder Woman.
Okay, yeah.
We're here to discuss JoJo. So who else has got a nice character for us to lambast?
I will also be doing a character from Part 4. Mm-hmm. Koichi Hirose. And yeah, Koichi is the character that stands out for me.
Stands?
Yeah. He has multiple stands because it evolves.
And this guy from the server.
But much like how his stand evolves, I think the character also evolves, which is pretty rare for this series, which has a lot of one-dimensional macho men characters.
Yeah.
And that's why I like Koichi, because he starts off as, this small kid who gets pushed around. He gets turned into a stand user against his will. And it's about his growth and learning to use this power to not get pushed around, stand up for himself, and eventually defend his town. I think his arc is the most in-depth in this season for sure, but maybe even in the whole series.
Which isn't difficult.
No, yeah.
To stand atop this heap of trash is...
Yeah. You're talking about a kiddie pool next to a puddle. Like as far as depth goes, but
yeah, but
which, by the way,
does that guy ever get taller, or does he always stay as like a child looking?
I have gotten into heated arguments with sixth graders who I teach, who will get very upset if I say that there is no plot or a depth to JoJo. So
there's definitely a plot.
Mm.
Like something is happening at all points.
But yeah, I think Koichi is a standout for sure. And he reminds me of my character. Because I think that they do have similar arcs, actually. I think Jonathan Joestar, who I'm choosing, he's the only JoJo that you actually get to see have real weakness, which is like at the beginning, he doesn't start off as this like macho man, Mary Sue type character.
He's pretty big.
When he's a kid, he gets his ass kicked multiple times. And then whenever Dio enters the picture, Dio fucking schools this dude, burns his dog alive, makes him look like a little piece of shit in front of his dad, like really just destroys him. And actually, this is another thing I actually do like about Jonathan, even though, again, I see the first season especially as just comical. It just makes me laugh. Like, that's why I like it, because it's so over the top. And like Jonathan Joestar is so dramatic. Like everything about it is so like just drama filled.
I like the part where they tell us how many centimeters tall he is.
Yeah, it's insane. And even everything that he does, like just it's so bombastic. Like every sentence is so insane to me. But he, the thing I like about him is that he actually is sort of coasting along. And it's not until Dio enters his life that he sort of has this challenger who makes him look inwards and reflect and then grow from it and sort of meet the challenge and try to become better. And it's not until like basically evil enters his life that he decides to position himself as a good person and a strong person who can overcome these challenges. And he works his way to that point. I think the difference between him and Koichi is that I don't think Koichi ever embraces or considers himself a hero. I think Koichi is more of like just a fucking kid in a town. You know what I'm saying? Like just trying to go to school and like this shit's been thrust upon him. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Jonathan Joestar very much wants justice and wants to.
Yeah, Jonathan
wants
very
to do
much
the right
becomes
thing.
like a Captain America type of dude.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he cares about what's right and what's wrong, and he cares about honor. I mean, which makes sense for the time period. It's like he cares very much about honor. And like even the smallest thing, like, I mean, this isn't small. It is sexual assault. But when Dio kisses, well, it is. I mean, Dio kisses the girl that he's it is sexual assault. But I mean,
I think it's framed in a humorous way.
It maybe, but he sees that as like a huge breach of honor. And that's what throws him over the edge. Like that's one of the first things. I think he goes back and he punches Dio, and that's like the sort of the first step of like, no, I'm not going to take this shit anymore. And sort of, I'm going to have to face you at my terms. So anyway, I like Jonathan Joestar for that. Now, I will say though, I don't know. Actually, no, let's let Matt go for it next, and then I'll say why.
Say what you need to say.
Say what you need to say.
Never mind.
Go ahead, Matt.
I think that my favorite character, and quite possibly the best character in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, is the villain from Part 2, the primary antagonist, Cars.
He's not the first one that they awaken. He's the big bad one, right?
I think he's the first one, right? That gets awakened?
Cars is the main one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Cars is 100% the main one. I don't remember the details of his...
But Joseph fucking dives into that well with one, and then the light reflects. It's noon. And so the light reflects in the well and kills that one.
Oh, maybe that one is Santana. You might be right.
Yes. And then Cars and the others get awakened later.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. Yeah.
But anyway, Cars.
Cars the main antagonist.
The other ones just mentioned are called AC/DC and Whammoo.
I think I would assume in the English dub it would just be AC/DC and Wham. Right?
Well, actually, in the English dub,
they're
they
not
had
allowed to
change.
use the names in
Yeah.
English.
Oh shit! Really?
They had to change the names, which I don't even think that. I mean, apparently it's the case, but I didn't think that copyright meant that you couldn't like satirically name a character after a band. Like, what the fuck is that?
It's pretty direct. Like
Like
one-to-one.
AC/DC, they spelled ESIDISI.
So stupid.
Yes, but it's
Cars is
silly.
spelled with a K, right?
We
So-
all know it's
Yeah.
silly. AC/DC should know that they're not trying to steal their fucking band name. Like, you know,
I'm
Well, I
sure
mean,
the
there's
band
not about
themselves
that,
doesn't
yeah.
care. It's probably
Also,
like
their
the-
band name is literally just about electrical currents, so I don't even know if you can claim that one. Cars, also
But
Cars. Wham.
anyway, we keep getting off the Cars though.
Cars.
Now Santana
Cars.
is just the dude's name.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to say.
All right, so anyway, back to Cars. Your guy.
Yeah, Cars is the leader of I think the three Pillar Men that end up being the antagonists of that arc. And he's got the typical villain situation of just wanting to become the ultimate life form, and I think rule the earth. But
And
you know,
he already is an incredibly powerful
I think he's
life
already
form.
basically the ultimate life form.
Yeah.
when he comes out, but he wants to become even more ultimate. I think I really like the way that he looks and is drawn.
Dude's got a 10-pack. I mean, something like
he's
that.
got
It's
the
crazy.
typical JoJo masculine body form.
It's
And
insane.
I'm pretty sure he's just wearing like a scarf and a thong or something. It's the dumbest shit.
He also has a more they also all have more feminine facial features though. It's
Yeah,
like
their
very
faces are a
masculine
little more
bodies, very feminine facial
That's
features.
peak human performance.
long hair. Yeah,
Yes.
they're just a being. Yeah, it's hard to assign. I mean, I think they are men or male genders, but there's certainly aspects.
they
of
are
both.
called the Pillar Men.
Correct. Well, I don't know if that's the three of them or is that just their whole race.
Well,
Because
I
Pillar
mean,
Men are like proto vampires, right? Is my understanding of the whole situation.
we can get into it. We can get into it later, but
Yeah,
I mean,
I really like Cars
even
though, because not only is he a present threat, he also relates to the reason why, or he's directly tied into Dio's whole situation, which I suppose we could talk about later.
yeah, I
So
think that's
I think
cool
Cars
too.
is actually one example of a villain that has been taken into consideration in the overall
Yes.
plot of the thing.
Jesus
And
Christ!
he might be
yes.
the only one, is what I'm saying.
My
so that makes him really
God.
cool.
Also, I have his page pulled up here, and it
How,
says,
how old? Tell him
says
how old.
birthday, circa 100,000 BC.
Yep.
So he's the Vandal Savage of
Jesus
JoJo.
Christ.
As an old ass dude.
Yeah. He's as old as Homo sapiens.
Except he's not human, right? He's his race. I think, like I said, I think that not the three of them are the Pillar Men. I think that they are part of like a race that are known as the Pillar Men. But I don't know. It doesn't really matter, honestly.
He created the masks that make vampires. Like he made those masks.
That makes Dio. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The
And
Pillar
so
Men
that,
are a race of ancient humanoid superhuman beings that are now extinct.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
I
And the
think
last four
they're-
would be
yeah,
Santana,
they're-
Cars, AC/DC, and Whammoo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Honestly,
thank-
so
thank God.
they ended JoJo basically.
Genocide.
Genocide
Yeah,
of the
that's
race.
genocide. He
To be
ended
fair,
an
Cars was
endangered
trying to
species.
I think Cars was trying to like Thanos everybody, so that's probably reasonable.
Yeah.
Or maybe even worse. I think he would just be fine with holding
I think he
dominion
just
over
wanted
everybody.
to be. Yeah, I think he wanted that. I think he
Yeah,
wanted
as
to be
opposed
just
to
the
wiping them
perfect
out.
being,
Yeah, you're right.
which he did become. He contained every piece of DNA from every creature that it's ever existed.
Let's just talk about Cars, since I think he's the only villain, and he's got a lot of interesting points. Yeah,
He's the only, besides Dio, he's the only villain that actually was thought about. I think.
correct, and I think it's because it part 1, part 2, it makes sense that you lead with your strongest ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think
and
that
also,
those part of my
Dio, you see like a person become a vampire for the first time, and he's already very strong. And then you see the origin of that, which is way stronger.
Oh, Cars is a monster.
But then it doesn't make sense why Dio comes back and is once again even stronger and can stop time. But,
well, it does make sense because he's a fan favorite, so you got to bring him back to sell books.
Apparently, I was reading, and there's a lot of stuff, dude. Dude, I fucking went down some rabbit holes. But
why?
There's a lot of stuff about what Iraqi meant and what he did and what he said and all this stuff. And one story that I came across said that literally the editor was like, he did not like the right turn that Iraqi took with Stardust Crusaders. He was like, I don't like the whole stance thing. I think that you should just keep making the manga how you've been making it.
Does anyone prefer changing his stance?
Stance blow ass compared to Haman.
Dude, if you go online, there's so many people that are fucking down with that shit.
Think people stands?
They think they're better than
Haman.
I think like Haman is definitely superior, but when I first witnessed it, it was because it felt so absurd and different how they used it.
It is unique.
Yeah, ridiculous.
But if we look at the time when it was like written, maybe stands were unique.
Well,
when part 3 was written.
Yeah. Well, and what I want to say is,
aren't stands just personas? But I guess
just like familiars, but like in anime.
But
yes,
this game had more persona, right?
Throw punches, like
apparently, the whole stands thing has inspired a lot of shit. Like, but yeah, they're supposed to be like the inner representation of yourself is what I've seen the most people say that stands are. Like, they bring out a part of your personality that you have suppressed or that is deep inside of you.
I get that, but is it cooler than Haman, which is basically a
chi?
Yeah, it's
chi energy.
And not only that, but it's chi that is specifically weaponized to combat undead.
Vampires, yeah.
Which is amazing.
It actually thematically makes sense.
It's the natural evolution of humans reacting to survive against a being that is superior to them, which would be the Pillarman, which is awesome.
Yeah,
I think that's so cool.
The first 2 seasons are not only funny and ridiculous, but also thematically make sense. Like, there's more to it in the first couple of seasons. Yeah. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stupid ass shit too.
Yeah,
like,
it's very dumb and over the top. But there are themes of like life versus death and humanity conquering things that are stronger than them. And I think Cars is a really good vehicle that they use for that.
My point is that part of the agreement, like the editor were like, okay, that's fine, do the stance thing, but we need to draw a more connective tissue here. So he was like,
between what and what?
Between the first 2 seasons and what you're about to do with Stardust Crusaders. So like bringing Dio back was supposed to be more connective tissue to like help connect the fans. And I'm like, it just.
But we already had Old Man Joseph.
Yeah, which also was supposed to be connective tissue, but it was also random because it's like, okay, randomly these stands just start coming about, you know?
I agree.
I like Old Man Joseph, actually.
I like him too, but I agree with the right turn analogy in that it just feels so different. Like, I see what he's doing with the main characters. Like, the first one, Jonathan's very like noble and good boy, and then you have Joseph, who is just like
he's a punk.
Yeah.
Teaming up with Nazis and just running away from fights.
Teaming up with Nazis does not make you a punk. It makes you a fucking Nazi.
Make you a Nazi, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could be a punk and you can also be a Nazi. What I hate about... I don't know. I feel like the difference between Joseph in part 2 and then when we see him again as old, it sucks so bad.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't like what they did with that character personally.
It feels so different because everyone in part 3 is like too cool and has no personality. I feel like they're not dynamic enough. That's what I don't like about the characters in part 3. Right. And then same with Joseph. Like, yeah, he's still kind of chaotic, but it doesn't feel like the same character. Like, he uses Haman or tries to like once, it fails.
That's what I was going to say.
How do you forget something like that?
Even if he has a stand now, why wouldn't he use Haman?
Is it because they're not dealing with undead? So it's like a less effective strategy, or is that ever even clarified? I don't think so, right?
No, it's just dropped, bro.
No, it feels like it just never existed.
Hey, folks. Sorry to interrupt this fascinating episode of Your Favorite Character Sucks, but we've got an exciting new sponsor. It's an organization called Masterclass that promises to bring the best teacher in every field right to your living room. Are you ready to meet your new teacher? Hi, my name is Jonathan Joestar. I'm 195 centimeters tall, an extremely muscular individual, and I can strike a gentleman's pose. In my masterclass, you'll learn everything you need to know to live to the ripe age of 25. First things first, make sure that there are no women in your life. All they do is slow you down. What you need is good old-fashioned competition and tough love. Luckily, I had my father to berate and strike me at every mistake I made. And, strange as it may seem, I was lucky to have Dio as well. Find a young man to form a love-hate relationship with, have your father adopt him, and you too can grow to be a 195 centimeter tall, muscle-bound lad. What else can I teach you? Besides rugby and Ripple, I suppose I can tell you a thing or two about time. Time is relative, you see. With a well-timed monologue and a brain that somehow works 3 times as fast as the slow-motion movements around me, you can accomplish anything in the span of a nanosecond. So write yourself a paragraph, make it as flowery as a Danish tulip farm, and let your opponent know where you're going to strike them, how hard, and how little they will be able to accomplish before you deliver the blow. I'm Jonathan Joestar, and this is my masterclass. I do want to say this before we get too much deeper into the podcast, which is that anybody who loves Jojo is going to probably hate this podcast, and here's why. Here's why. So I'm sorry, everyone who loves JoJo out there. We're gonna talk passionately about the characters that we've chosen. Here's the thing: if you like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, then you do not like the typical celebrated story structure, character design, and all that stuff that's like worked for century. You're not into that. You are into some weird, different shit that doesn't take itself too seriously and is bizarre, just like the title says.
There's nothing wrong with that either.
I don't
like
think there's
JoJo's.
anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, you can like both.
You can like both, but what I'm saying is the goal of this podcast is to analyze character and pick the best character.
True.
And I think that this podcast actually it's like trying to fit a circle in or a square into a circular hole. Like it doesn't meet up because JoJo is not traditional at all in any way. And I would argue, not just with the lens of the podcast, but also just personal opinion, that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is bad. It's not good storytelling. It's not good character design. It's none of that stuff. However,
I think John is just against
I think that's
action.
bad maybe from your scope, but as entertainment, that's all it is, right?
That's what I was going to say is if I look at it as pure entertainment, I do like the first couple of seasons and I like some stuff in the 4th season. But yeah, I mean, even entertainment, as far as entertainment goes, Stardust Adventures?
Stardust Crusaders?
Stardust Crusaders. Fucking dude, that shit was a slog.
It was rough. It was
like a slog.
Twice as long as the other parts.
Why do people love it?
I can't tell you.
I couldn't tell you.
People like standard shonen.
Well, what were y'all?
Like that,
I'll let y'all say it because y'all said this to me before I even watched it about the characters being like how the characters are in that series.
They just don't feel...
They're muted, right? That's what y'all said.
They don't stand out, yeah. And if they do something that is kind of like weird that you expect from characters, it feels unnatural. I mean, like Kakyoin doing the... That shit made me laugh. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, it's so fucking weird.
But also, I feel like all the other parts, even if, you say the characters aren't like well developed...
in the traditional sense.
You still get a variety of characters... I think, but in part 3, it's just 4 macho dudes. Like,
yes,
I feel like there's no
punching
difference.
the shit out of things. They're all punching the shit out of things.
Yeah, they're all just,
and they're not even punching.
they're all
Their
just
stands are
boring
punching.
giant dudes with stands that are also giant dudes that just throw punches and do nothing else.
Well, their inner self is just being giant dudes, so you could say that they're actually being very true to themselves.
And I think we should save the shitting on Jotaro later so that we can split up the negativity. But I really do want to talk about Jotaro and also all of the defense of him I've seen online, but we'll save that for later. So let's get back to our characters. We talked a little bit about cars. Who else do we want to talk about a little deeper? Rohan is someone that I didn't connect with that much, but when I was doing research, I was like, you know what? I can appreciate this character.
I mean...
So what else can we say about Rohan?
Well, yeah, first of all, I think he's definitely a self-insert for Araki. And just reflecting, I guess, some of his feelings when it comes to creating manga.
Yeah. And I need to know what the fuck's going on in Araki's brain. So this is a good character.
Well, that's going to be hard to dissect.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're trying to get into that right now.
I don't know if you're familiar with the meme of Araki forgot. It's just essentially, maybe you've realized there's plenty of things that are introduced and never come up again. Especially when there's like a brand new character, they'll do something and then you'll never see them do that thing again. It's like, oh, that's a cool ability. But
like Joseph, his stand having the ability to locate stands. But then when they're looking for Kira, he never uses that to find Kira. Yeah, he could just use that, right? So it never happens.
In part 5, there's one where Giorno, who we haven't talked about yet, I think he like mutate things, and if someone like damages that living thing, it does the damage back on them. Never see that again in the whole series. Like, that seems pretty powerful, but let's ignore that.
Yes.
But for Rohan, so like immediately you realize like how weird he is and like narcissistic.
He's a villain. He's one of those characters that is weird to me because he starts as like a murderous villain and then very quickly just becomes an ally.
Yeah, just definitely
that happens to a lot of
switch.
characters, and it's weird.
Yeah, especially in part 4. I think part 4 definitely is just like,
That
all
hair
right,
chick.
we're almost going to kill each other. Now we're homies.
Yeah.
That's how you gain respect. You leave it all
It
on
made
the
more
fucking
sense-
street, bro.
True.
As much as I hate Stardust Crusaders, it made more sense there because they were like mind controlled, right? So that's why. But in 4, no, it's like that hair chick is insane, and then all of a sudden, she's like an ally or a friend or whatever.
Yeah, that goes for a lot of them. For Rohan, like he has all these negative qualities, but I think some of those come out of like insecurity, where he's saying like, he said how he worries like after he finishes a project, he might lose readers, might lose their interest, so he becomes like obsessive with creating more. And I think that's probably just like a self-reflective look on Araki. Which I think is cool. And outside of that, I think he's just a cool character. Cool like design, clothes, attitude after he's done being like a jerk, murderous jerk. I think his attitude's pretty cool.
Jesus Christ. Doesn't he never really get along with Josuke though?
Yeah, which I think is fair.
That's cool.
Although Josuke is like a teenager and Rohan is like 20.
Also, to be a manga artist, your like whole existence is dedicated to that, like a manga writer and artist. So
Is that the case?
from every piece of evidence I've seen, there was a manga writer guy who was on a season of Terrace House, and that dude's life was consumed. And he ended up just leaving the show because he's like, I don't have time to hang out with y'all. Like, I have to work. And I mean, but I hear the same thing. Like the schedule, the weekly production is rigorous. Sure. And you know, Japanese culture sort of is there's a lot of pressure on you
It's work heavy.
It's a lot of pressure to be perfect and to focus on your career and stuff. And so, so they pour their lives into it.
Yeah. So I think it was good to highlight that within this character. And also his stand is just very powerful. Aside from just reading it, like everything about somebody.
You can also write directives on them, right?
Yeah. And he literally saves Koichi from like being dragged to purgatory. Because when they're going in the alley and you're not supposed to look around, he turns around, he's about to get grabbed. And Rohan's like, nah, he's blind actually, so he didn't see anything.
Yeah. Wait, what? But that's so random.
Yes. But it's definitely one of those things that I love about JoJo's.
Is that powers come about in situations? It's like
just like not expecting how they're going to get out of a situation.
Yes, and then it never makes sense how they do. It's like Matt, you're like talking about the gadgets in like 007, how like
there's always
the gadget has one purpose, but instead of setting it up, there's no setup. It's just like all of a sudden the gadget pops into existence in JoJo and gets used once and then never again.
Yeah, what's the problem with that?
There's no setup. It's just Deus Ex Machina, like to the 1000th degree. It's crazy.
Yeah, your stand evolves as it needs to.
Correct.
Dude, literally, okay, we'll talk about Jotaro later. Jotaro. How do y'all want to say his name? Because I think they say Jotaro in the English dub.
I've always heard of Jotaro, but
everyone always corrects me to Jotaro.
Yeah. I'm trying to say everything as proper as possible.
Okay, I'll say Jotaro, but we'll get to him in a minute.
How would you pronounce cars?
Nope.
Cares. I don't know who to transition to at this point.
I'll talk
Koichi's
about,
in the same season.
I'll talk about Koichi because we're still on part 4.
Sure, go to Koichi.
So
I do like Koichi, actually. I think there is character development there.
Yeah, and more so than, the main character, Josuke.
Not at all, yeah.
Yeah, I think both Rohan and Koichi are cooler than the main character, who's just okay.
Main character being
Josuke.
I think he started very strong with punching those people through the stomach.
Yes. No, dude, when he I actually do like Josuke's stand. It's one of the first stands that I was like, okay, I actually really do like that because it's so different and weird.
I just don't like stands, man. I
don't like stands either.
Yeah, this season,
if it was just a power,
has stands that actually have powers.
But if it was just a power,
there's more creativity behind the stands.
I think that
which kind of redeemed it for me.
Yeah, like breaking through someone's body and breaking a glass and then pulling that through and the glass fixing itself and then their body fixing themselves afterwards. It's just so crazy. Like it's I think it's nice, but Josuke himself is not very interesting. He's just a guy who, like, when you make fun of his hair, he gets upset.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, that's the extent of his character, right?
And just being, I guess, a goofball.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think part 4 definitely is more about all the characters
playing your strength,
than the
bro.
main.
But yeah, Koichi, you were saying, Brand, is more interesting.
Yeah, more interesting because, like I was saying, he and his stand evolve. And this goes back to what you were saying, his stands being like a, representation of your true self. Like, he straight up dies from the arrow that turns him into a stand user.
Yeah, he's not even supposed to get a stand. It's just that
exactly. But
Josuke fixed him.
Yeah, Josuke brings him back to life. And so his stand initially is just an egg with no powers because Koichi himself is basically powerless.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then just as he gets into situations where he has to stand up for himself or defend his loved ones and becomes more like confident, then his stand evolves.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Is his stand literally Togepi?
Yes.
What the fuck? Is it not?
His stand, no. It looks just like Cell, dude.
Yeah.
It looks like Cell.
By the end.
And then
sure.
Koichi has like the Dragon Ball Z hair at one point.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
once
that's
his,
true.
once
Literally
his
like Gohan?
stand evolves, he gets the spiky hair. He like powers up.
Let's turn into Super Saiyan
And then
2
eventually
Gohan,
his
bro.
stand is like sentient and speaks and calls people hoes and shit, which is pretty amazing.
Beach.
Yeah, that shit is a little too campy for me, but
It's so ridiculous. Yeah, it's insane.
But yeah, like by Act 3 of his stand,
Yeah.
it's basically voicing like his pent up anger that he hasn't been able to express
Yeah.
now that he actually has power.
Yeah, like talking back to someone who upsets him.
Exactly. He's not afraid. And then by the end, he's pretty crucial to the overall story. He saves Jotaro, and he is pretty important in defeating Kira, right? Like, he prevents them from getting exploded or something.
I don't remember. I
You know what I'm
didn't
talking
understand.
about, Seb?
I didn't
Sounds
understand.
about right.
The whole Kira plot towards the end was very convoluted and confusing to me.
What do you mean, dude?
Because his stand also has powers, and he has like sound manipulation.
Yes.
And he uses that to prevent Kira's like final explosion, I believe.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get the killing blow. I'm sure that's who Josuke is, the main character. But
no, actually, they do the whole heroes don't kill people thing. And Kira gets killed by an ambulance backing up over him.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Heroes don't kill anybody.
Yeah, but he's like, I mean,
Jesus.
he's rendered completely unconscious at that point, right?
So let me just do a little juxtaposition. Fucking Jonathan Joestar falling down a tower, whips his belt off, catches Dio's foot with it, and hoists himself back up, right?
Yeah.
That all happens within the span of a nanosecond.
that makes sense to me, though.
An ambulance is backing up. Couldn't be backing up faster than 10, 15 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And they all stand around and go, ah, as Kira gets run over by this ambulance.
I mean, let's be real. They all wanted it to happen.
But they also do the same thing when the nurse is walking over to him. She's fucking walking towards him. And they're all like, no, don't go help him. And she just keeps walking. And they literally, no one even takes a step towards her to like stop her from getting close to him as he takes her hostage. It's just so silly.
Time is relative.
Yeah, time is very...
Oh, for sure. They have whole conversations while they're falling.
The span of 1 second?
Yeah.
It's insane. But anyway, yeah. So they don't kill him. An ambulance runs him over.
Yes.
So you're telling me that this anime suffers from that thing that you hate where people like to explain the stuff that they're doing?
Yes.
Definitely. Except there's also a narrator in this anime. I think Koichi is the narrator of part 4.
Koichi is, and that's another argument for why he's actually more important than Josuke.
Yeah, he's like...
He's the one
he's
telling
the main
story.
character?
He's like
Yes.
the main character of season 4. It's weird. But yeah, there's a narrator who explains stuff that doesn't need to be explained. If you go back and watch the whole like Joseph defeating Cars situation, which I think is fucking insane and hilarious.
So stupid, but
It's
I love
so
it.
stupid, dude. But there's a narrator who's explaining every step of the way. He's like, the volcano rocketed the rocks up into the air and through and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, at the very end, like Joseph's hand, his arm that gets cut off somehow comes out of fucking nowhere and hits him. And the next thing you'll be saying is, there's no way that you could have planned that or something like that. It's so stupid.
Oh, when he's just making fun of him? Yeah, the narrator also goes on for like 3 or 4 minutes explaining how Cars survives the volcano when he's plunged
Oh my
into it.
God.
I'm like, man.
Yes. Leave nothing to the imagination.
Well,
also,
they just want us to know how intelligent and how far ahead these guys think.
yeah, exactly.
Because that's the only way to try and give us some relative sense of how smart these guys are.
It's Araki trying to sell us bullshit, and it's not working because the narration makes it even more insane.
No, I'm down with it. Yeah, the narration makes it seem even more ridiculous and dumb.
Yeah, which
But
is
I think it
hilarious.
recognizes that, and it just keeps doing. It just it just continues on.
Okay, well, that's my question is Araki, I asked this to you when I first started watching season 1, but is he fucking Tommy Wiseau or not? Does he realize how stupid it is, or does he think he's cool? Does he think that this stuff is cool?
I think it is stupid, but it is cool.
I've seen pictures of Araki, and he looks like the kind of like quirky personality where he like actually buys the shit that he's selling, I think.
What's wrong with that? That's why it's so popular. You have to believe in yourself.
But I'm saying I don't think he thinks it's a comedy. I think he legit thinks he's writing groundbreaking, well done stuff.
I don't know about that.
I don't think that, dude.
I think he's Tommy Wiseau.
I think it is badass. Like the characters are cool and stuff like that. But it's also just fucking dumb. You can't think about it too much. You let the narrator do the thinking for you. All I know is if you watch this series, you get to. I just hate the parts where they have to tell me like how tall every single character is to the centimeter and how much they weigh in kilograms. Yeah. I hate knowing everybody's IQ and stuff like that.
Oh God!
To them, I'm like, why is this stuff important? I mean, I get it, but I also like why.
Yeah,
it's because it's taking up like additional panels in the manga, right?
For sure.
Every single time you do something like that, that's more shit that they have to pen in.
Oh, that's a good point.
I've seen that in other anime too, where like,
oh yeah, I hate it.
Just stats.
Yeah, just
why?
Stats for people.
They're obsessed with it. I don't know.
Stats are they're so dumb and so irrelevant.
Yeah, especially because then later they almost always end up getting contradicted.
But I just feel like in JoJo
making
it's
things more
even
complicated.
more extreme.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so I mean, in summation, Koichi, he narrates season 4.
Mm-hmm.
He has character growth. He, he's pivotal in a lot of parts. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Also, though, like Josuke's ability to bring people back from the dead is also another thing that's very wishy-washy. It's like,
well, it's not the main intention of his ability, right? It just happens to be like something he can also do.
It works on Koichi, but then like there are several times where characters are dead or dying, and he does not use it. So it's like, why? Why do he not use it on those times? It's another thing of what Araki forgot or whatever. So
I
I
don't
want to
know.
talk.
I feel like that has to be an intentional thing. The ability to bring someone back to life is a coveted ability.
I guess technically he wasn't dead. The power is that he can reform things. So it's like he was reforming the wound before he died, right?
I don't know.
I think it's reverse. It's like localized reversal of entropy is specifically what it is. Because the power is not unlimited. You can't like bring a corpse back to life.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So as long as it happened within some particular time frame and some proximity to you, then you can do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there are... Why don't they give us the stats on that? That would be something that would be interesting to know the stats about, but we just don't
know. His grandfather drinks that one stand, and he doesn't punch him and bring him back,
Well, by the time he tried, it was too late.
It happened right behind his back. How quick did this dude get killed?
I mean, that's what they signify by, like, I don't know, the mist coming out of their mouth. And it's like, oh, now it's too late, which they use again in part 5. Like someone dies and the mist comes out of their mouth.
What the fuck?
But that time they actually bring him back to life.
So it wasn't relevant.
Well, that was because Giorno's ability is actually bringing people back from the dead. I don't remember how he did it.
I know for a fact I haven't seen all of the show with Giorno. I saw like the first half of it, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it starts strong, and then there's some slow parts.
He's part Dio, part Jojo. Jojo, because Dio had Jojo's dick.
I think it's literally something like that. Not even joking.
So like so when did Dio go around getting like banging people? Like, well, I'm so confused.
Well, when he came out the ocean.
He's like, I got to get some chicks pregnant.
Yes, absolutely.
With the Joestar body,
which is exactly the plot of that most recent BBC Dracula. Right?
God, no.
Wait, did that copy JoJo's? Is that right?
Well, I definitely know that he came out of the ocean, right? Or some shit?
Bro, that third ep was so
bad.
Dookie shit.
Not good. No. Very fucking bad.
I didn't see any of that. I've never heard of this.
As long as one person understands the reference,
no,
I'm glad
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's very similar in that regard.
So I mentioned Cars and how he got killed, but he does achieve perfection.
He doesn't die.
He has a full arc.
He is dealt with.
Oh, he doesn't die. That's
he
actually
is dealt
true.
with, but he is not dead.
It's a fate worse than death, right? I mean, he's just
for him, sure. Yeah.
You're just alive inside of a shell of yourself, floating through space
unable to
forever.
die because you're too powerful. Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
That's insane.
It's honestly, I think, the worst.
Is he gonna like plummet back to Earth one day, or
also how does lava not kill you, but the atmosphere or the of outer space, the
nothing can kill you
there,
because you're too powerful.
But how does it affect? I don't understand. But anyway,
you don't understand because your IQ is not 400 like that of Cars.
If we were talking about
what's up?
I was gonna say if we're talking about worst deaths, though, let's say probably is part 5. The main antagonist is cursed to just dying for eternity.
Just like
so he's in the infinite Tsukiyomi or whatever that shit's
literally
called.
The infinite Tsukiyomi. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it. Do I need to watch another
Naruto.
episode?
Do not watch Naruto. Don't watch Naruto.
Oh, Naruto. Yeah, he would like wake up in a different scenario and then die in a completely different way each time.
That reminds me of how Kira like woke up and was like a ghost or whatever. Which, by the way, that's another that season. The whole like ghost thing comes out of nowhere. Like the whole what is up with that street that is like the entrance to hell? Like what is going on there?
I mean,
what the fuck is going on?
That's also the highway to hell, John.
Yeah, which would be a rock reference that he might use. Mm-hmm. Did he? I mean, it wasn't called that, right?
Did he?
I don't know.
He's either a genius or not a genius.
Well, part 4 is supposed to be like so random. Like that's the whole thing about the town. So yeah, you have like ghosts, aliens.
According to people that I listened to, it's his favorite season. It's his favorite season. No, that Moria season. He wants to go back and do another season.
It's like a season of American Horror Story where you just throw a bunch of shit together.
See what sticks.
Aliens, ghosts.
Yeah.
Right, but American Horror Story promises us that they are going to explore every genre of horror in their season, so it makes sense that there's a bunch of random shit together.
JoJo's also going to explore every genre of horror, so
of not even real literature. Yeah, it's just insanity. It's like
just every nook and cranny will be explored by JoJo.
He also said he's obsessed, or this is what I heard. Again, I'm basing this off of like fucking YouTubers. Who say that they've heard these things. Mm-hmm. But apparently he also is obsessed with making bodies do things that they're not supposed to do. So like
JoJo poses. JoJo poses.
Yeah. Like I'm talking about also like Rohan like ripping people's faces open like they're books. Like he likes making bodies do things that bodies are not supposed to be able to do.
He also likes killing dogs.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know.
Speaking of dogs, doesn't Cars like save a dog at some point?
Yeah. Season 2 is the only season where I think a dog does not die.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I've always said this, or I haven't always said this. I'm saying this now for the first time.
Uh-huh.
If you can't, it's like the whole Trump thing of like, oh, there was good people on both sides. If you're aligned with Nazis, like you can't be marching through the streets with Nazis and say like, I'm a good guy. So actually, since Cars is on the other side of Nazis, he's got to be the good guy in that.
This is the enemy of my enemy type situation. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, if you find yourself at a place and there are Nazis and you're not on their side, then you're actually the good guy.
You're shifted enough to the left that you're technically for this. It's like siding with Russia.
See, I would say it's more like how the emperor was trying to fight against the Yuzong Fong.
Shit. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
like
sure.
the Nazis are the empire here, but the Pillar Men are much worse.
Oh, for sure. And the more I think about it, I think the closer I do agree that Cars is like Thanos. Because I think he slew all his boys. Like, the Pillar Men didn't want him to make the masks and use them.
Yeah.
But he continued to do so. They tried to stop him, and he just killed all of them.
I think that he was in pursuit of something higher, and I don't think that they were. I feel like he thought that they were insignificant.
Tell me he was in pursuit of a more pure and powerful race.
Oh, shit.
And then when his people revolted, he committed genocide in order to align everybody's views with his own.
That's right.
Except he did. The thing is, he did achieve the perfect being. Yeah. He literally became the perfect organism and still got outwitted. And
will he not at some point enter a planet's atmosphere again?
That's what I'm saying.
That's not our problem. It's like Planet Hulk when they shoot Hulk out of the atmosphere. That's someone else's problem now.
They're not bringing. They're devoted to stands now, dude. They
don't want to see a sci-fi.
They're past stands.
They're done with stands at a certain point.
I mean, I haven't read.
I mean, once all the arrows have been used up, there's no more stands being created.
But there are more arrows.
Shit.
Spoilers for John.
No, there are more arrows.
The whole universe resets.
What are you talking about?
The antagonist of part 6 in the end, I guess his ability or something is to rewrite the entire universe. So that's why if you look up certain characters, you'll see their names again. There's a new Dio. There's a new Zeppeli. Okay. There's all these new characters. I guess they're just like alternate versions. And I don't know exactly what's going on, but there's like it's called Steel Ball Run, which is like a cross-country race on horses.
What are you talking about?
So basically it's Hidalgo.
I'm going to be lying to you right now.
It's Hidalgo, the Jojo version.
Seabass, we're trying to do a fucking podcast here, dude. Do you know what we're doing?
I hate to tell you that Seb is not pulling this out of his ass.
No. Let me go back to when I was first introduced
out of
to
their
this
ass.
show. So JoJo is kind of like a virus in that I don't think anyone just decides to watch it. Either you're forced to watch it,
me,
or
correct,
you
I paid.
I guess hear enough shit about it where you're like, I gotta see what's going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say you chose to watch it and you turned it on at my house.
Yeah,
and then
which was
got
on a whim because I only saw part 1 by that time. I was introduced to it because back in college, I was hanging out with this dude for the first time, went over to his place.
It's like when you experiment in college.
Yeah, we're getting a little weird. His apartment smelled like bacon. But anyway, he was thinking of fighting games. So we played the JoJo fighting game on PS3. And,
which I'm
most
unaware
fighting games
of.
are, it makes sense. But here, he was like, I choose one character. He's like, oh, no, that character uses like bubbles that hurt people. And I choose another one. It's like, oh, that one has like a familiar that can punch and shit. That guy has a horse. You can like kick with the horse and shit. I'm like, what? Why are all these characters so fucking different? What am I playing here?
Whole horse?
I was like, what is this? No, not whole. It's someone from Steel Ball Run. I think it's one of the characters doesn't have legs. So he rides the horse everywhere. That's how he attacked.
So wait, at this time though, the anime hadn't even been animated yet, and Steel Ball Run is not animated. So the video game was based off of the manga?
No, this was on PS3.
Bro,
Part 1 and 2 were out by then.
What you watched is a remake of the anime.
What do you mean?
Part 3 already had an anime in like the 80s?
It was an OVA.
Wait,
I don't think it was a full
what?
episodic anime, but it was like a
Whatever.
movie.
It was animated.
So
These
yeah, part
characters
3
have
was animated.
existed like much longer.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So yeah, some of the characters were realized in 3D on this game first. Everyone after part 3, or not 3D, but animated fashion.
Yeah, original Stardust Crusaders was 1989.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Which is why I forgive it
It's a movie?
for how it is compared to like modern anime.
That's the manga.
But yeah, after playing that game, I was like, dude, I don't know what's
But
happening.
yeah,
here.
that does
that does
excuse
explain a lot of the musical
that
references.
does
too.
excuse why it is kind of just plotless, monster
Action?
of the week because
No.
it's old as shit.
I don't even mind that either.
80s, I don't know. I feel like there's some good manga or good anime you could find.
What, like
I mean,
Fist of the
no.
North Star?
Wait, hold on now. We haven't.
Dragon
I
Ball
forgot about that.
Dragon Ball was made in the 80s, I think, right?
Fist of the North Star is a good one, and I will
Is
not
that
hear anything
the?
You already did.
That came before JoJo, right?
I think so. Fist of the North Star is an old one, bro.
Yeah, I
And
can
that's, like,
definitely see that
inspiration
directly
for
influencing
JoJo.
JoJo.
Because everybody is like an enormous fucking beast of a man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are you
with
familiar with that,
incredible
John?
martial prowess.
I've heard the name, but
At
I'm
least
not
the
sure.
meme.
You've heard of it.
Yeah, Fist of
Okay.
the North Star is 86.
You've at least heard the what is it? Omaewa
Yeah, I need someone to put it in here.
Oshineru.
Yeah. Honey.
Yeah, he literally punches this dude like a million times, walks away, and then he dies like after he walks away.
Oh, that's Bruce Lee.
No, it really is a jacked Bruce Lee.
Yeah, he's literally Jack Bruce Lee.
Lighter skinned, maybe, too.
In the anime, he's a little more like brown because it's a post-apocalyptic like Mad Max type of situation.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, there's heavy influences from old martial art films and stuff like that. So it's a great series.
But,
I think. It's been a while since I've seen it.
But yeah, that was my introduction. I watched the first season all in one sitting with that dude and never picked it up again until going over to Brand's house, where it just turned it on randomly because it was the first thing on Netflix. And we ended up watching through till season 2. And I think that's where we got hooked because season 2 just starts.
Oh, yeah, because
so
season 2 is good as shit.
fucking
Part 2.
absurdly.
Oh, no. When he does that same, like, the soda bottle top thing. And it's the same thing that Jonathan Joestar does is my favorite quote, as y'all know, where he's in the middle of a fight and he says, by the time you do this, I'll do that, and it's like, by the time you pull the trigger on that gun, I'll have your finger broken or whatever. And he fucking,
I think that's a big
I
highlight.
just always think of when he like catches the spaghetti noodles. in
No,
his
that's
fork.
where he lost our shit.
Wait, what happened again? I can't remember.
What's the other dude's name?
Caesar?
Yeah, rest in peace. They're having like a passive aggressive Haman battle, and he like stiffens the spaghetti noodles with Haman and launches them like darts, and the other
Three
one
of them,
catches
he
them
raises the
between
fork
his
or whatever?
fork.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And he catches him?
Yes.
Yes.
It's so good.
It's dumb as shit.
No, and I do like, I was kind of trying to choose between Jonathan or Joseph, young Joseph. But then aligning himself with Nazis, I just couldn't do it. I was like, that sinks his character so hard. Because, like, I don't think the kids understand that are, like, into it. You cannot align yourself with Nazis. That's not cool. Like,
What if the other choice was something even worse than Nazis?
no. There's nothing. Literally, Nazis are the measurement of evil. Like, that's like how you measure evil. It's insane.
What if-
That's only because we
imagine
don't
if
have
Nazis
proto-vampires
actually-
in real life.
Correct.
I'm just saying, I
I'd
cannot
rather
get
ally with a
down.
vampire, to be honest.
I cannot get down with any story where Nazis are part of the good team. It doesn't work.
I will say
don't
that
like
does
it.
that does seem to be a trend on this podcast.
To be fair, it should be a theme in everybody's lives to not align themselves
That's
with
what I'm
Nazis.
saying
but-
too.
it's
But
not,
I'm
though.
saying there are some people who love. What was that Nazi character who becomes a cyborg?
In part
Stroheim?
2? Yeah.
Yeah, Stroheim. There's a lot of people who love Stroheim, and I'm like, I can't even like Stroheim because he's a fucking Nazi.
Also, he's
I
kind of a
don't care.
worthless piece of shit. Cars obliterates that dude.
He cuts that door open, doesn't he?
I think they're trying to harvest data from the fight with the first Pillar Man, Santana.
Yeah, and he opens it up.
And then he does. He becomes a shitty Jax. Jax, of course, being the cyborg character
Yeah.
from Mortal Kombat. But, so he becomes a worse version of Jax, and still, even with all that information, gets his ass just
completely obliterated by cars.
But yeah, so I chose Jonathan.
But he deserves it because he's a Nazi, you know.
I chose Jonathan because he was untainted by his allegiance with any,
Hitler?
you know, with any historically evil regimes.
I don't know. That dog got up to some war crimes. Dio is doing the right thing, is all I'm saying.
I like Jonathan too, not just because I've never in these episodes I've never like gone for like the ultra hero type character.
And he shares a name with you. Don't forget that.
Yeah, he's very heroic.
That's the main reason.
Mm-hmm.
He's very heroic, but what was I going to say about him? I also like how he's actually feels like he's growing throughout the series, whereas I feel like all the other Joestars, they're fucking just really powerful, like off the bat. Like even Jotaro, like he doesn't know what his stand is and he's scared of it, but then very quickly is just like very confident and like his stand just kicks everyone's ass.
Oh yeah, we haven't roasted Jotaro yet.
Oh, we will. I'm gonna. That's my next step is to roast.
Maybe
Jotaro
it's the
for
curse of being of the
first?
JoJo line.
Oh, well, but that's what I was saying is he's the most vulnerable, I think, JoJo. Like Jonathan Joestar, he's the only one that you get to see in a weaker state. He's also the only one you get to see who's just like flailing to figure things out. I mean, I guess.
Well, that's how it is to be the first. You know, you got to
Yes.
struggle, and then your
That is true.
descendants have it better off.
But also, he self-sacrifices, which none of the other JoJos get to do that because they can't fucking die, apparently.
They don't need to. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
But
Jonathan.
Joseph tries, doesn't he? Like he is definitely willing to sacrifice himself.
I think Joseph runs, doesn't he? Isn't that his thing? He runs. He's supposed to be the opposite of a hero because he runs from fights. Mm-hmm. But that's part of his plan.
Until it really matters.
Yeah, that's part of his plan is to run.
Also, another point for Joseph. I know you hate him because he sided with the Nazi, but
I don't hate him, but that disqualifies him for me.
he also says "fuck the police" and helps that black kid.
He
Which
does.
That
is
is true. That is true.
Yeah.
No, that is a dope scene and something that you don't always see in anime because it's a homogenous culture over there and like it. I think Araki really does prove that he's more of an international guy because.
Oh, he's definitely into American culture.
He's
Not
Mr.
just
Worldwide, basically.
But not just American culture. He also like the whole fucking Stardust
Italian.
Crusaders is a goddamn fucking world tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what it is,
That points in his favor of him being a genius.
I think so. No, I think him being traveled and like well learned about other cultures and stuff. I think that is cool. I do like that. I think that is a part of his writing that I think is well done.
What other parts of his writing do you think are well done?
That's it. End of list.
I mean, yeah, vampires
list,
from
honestly.
vampires from Central America is not something you've seen in other anime.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
It's amazing. That's what I think is I think the first. I legitimately think that the second part of the first season is the strongest overall out of the entire series. 'Cause
No, it's the best.
I agree. It's my favorite.
But I also last thing I'll say about Jonathan because then I do want to talk about Jotaro and Stans and stuff. But Jonathan also and I think this is part of this, we said this about Thrall and other characters like your weakness is like a positive thing, but his weakness is that he's too he wants to be a hero and he's too trusting and he's too gullible, I think is really his weakness. Because he tries to believe that Dio can be good even whenever
well, he's still his brother,
so
right?
good.
Or whatever, his adopted brother.
His adopted brother.
So he wants to do that.
He's got sort of like a trust but verify type of thing where it's like he doesn't trust him completely, but he is trying to give him the benefit of a doubt until he realizes that he's poisoning his father, and then like that's it, But anyway, yeah, he's too gullible, and he gets sort of baited into traps and stuff very easily because of that. But then I was going to say Dio, his stand I think makes a lot of sense because it stops time and he wants to live forever or whatever. He's a vampire. And so that makes sense to me. But then it makes no fucking sense. The only reason that it makes sense is to find a way to defeat Dio. That Jotaro's stand also has the ability to stop time because that has nothing to do with anything Jotaro's character cares about. And if the stands are supposed to be like...
He wants to stop Dio.
Yeah, he wants to be Dio, so that's a reflection of his inner self,
Yeah.
Jotaro is such a shitty character, and I fucking watched an hour and a half of 5 different videos of people on YouTube trying to defend that character, And not one thing did they say that I was like, you're right. Every single argument, I was like, you're fucking stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Literally, every argument for Jotaro is fucking conjecture. It's all conjecture. Like, these people are like, well, you have to understand, Jotaro's got this history that makes him. And I'm like, what history? That's not in the fucking manga. You're making this up. There's nothing in the manga or anime that says that Jotaro had like a bad history. It doesn't say that. So you're making that up. And then it'll be like, one guy was like, actually, there's tons of signs that Jotaro is autistic. And I'm like, no, you're making that up. It's all conjecture.
I think that's just true, actually.
You're literally making up things to make this character make sense when the character makes no sense.
I think the biggest offense of him being an asshole is he's just a teenager.
Yeah, I mean,
but what about him being 195 centimeters tall?
Just a big old fucking
Just
dude.
a big jacked piece of shit, bro.
Except also Seabass, I guess that is a teenager type thing. His mom at the beginning says like the year before he wasn't like this. Like he's just become an asshole, which teenagers do that shit.
He
so,
also
do they?
treats women like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
And they still fawn over him.
I mean, treating women like shit is better than Araki treats women, which is to just erase them. Just there's no women in this manga or anime except for the ones who either die, like Jojo's mom, Jonathan's mom, or
what about Lisa?
Yeah, what about
Lisa?
Lisa
Lisa is also a plot device. She's not even his mom until she needs to be for the plot.
All right. Well, I mean, okay, part 6 though.
Oh, part 6.
The main Jojo is a woman, Lynn. Is there a scene? Is the opening scene or one of them her masturbating in a jail cell? Maybe.
What the
Oh
fuck?
my god.
Lisa?
No, Jolene.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
his
what
daughter.
the fuck?
No.
Jotaro's daughter, right?
Yeah, but
Yes.
also Jotaro, from what I was reading, doesn't even raise her, which is like, what the fuck is up with this fucking people? And then also, do you think that Jolene was invented because of all the criticism that he was getting for not having any fucking female characters?
You think
I don't
someone
think there
like
would have been criticism by the time that was written. I don't know if there would have been criticism by like the fans of JoJo at that time. I think that's definitely probably a more modern criticism. I think he was just trying to change it up.
Yeah, I think you're right. But the women in this thing are they're either fans or they're plot devices or they're just dead. Like, they're nothing. Like, it's so weird how women are treated in this thing.
I don't know if that's... Yeah.
Telling me that you think erasure is worse than outright, like, disdain or hatred? I don't know about that.
I feel when I'm watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and this is not a judgment on it at all, but I do feel like I'm watching gay erotica.
What's wrong with that? Well, maybe that's what he
Well,
likes.
yeah, I think it is.
The thing is, though, if I don't know if that's what he wants
I just feel like that's what I'm watching. Yeah,
and draw, then I don't have a problem with that. The thing is, I don't think him removing women. I think the way that the men tend to be stands like against the fact that the women are just not present.
I'm just saying maybe the women aren't there because we don't want our
Iraqi forgot.
Well, we don't want to get soft in the middle of our gay erotica. You know what I mean?
I get that. I don't have a problem. And yeah, it makes sense to me because there's always like tons of like jacked, shirtless dudes.
It's all jacked dudes.
Yep.
Hey man, it is what it is. Like I said, I pick Cars here. That dude doesn't have a lot of clothes.
The most jacked.
Cars is,
that dude's thighs are as big as his like body. It's insane.
That's goals.
I mean,
God dang it.
That's an ideal body type, bro.
But so yeah, any defense of Jotaro besides the fact that he's a teenager, but the character, it's so boring, bro. It's so boring.
No, he has absolutely no personality.
I mean, teenagers, yes, but there's so many stories that have teenagers that are going through shit, and we get to see that.
Yes,
we don't get any of that.
Shit. And then show like his moment of like self-awareness.
Yeah, Koichi's a teenager, dude. Koichi's a more interesting character. He grows and he's going through awkward phases
like
and shit.
If Jotaro was a good teenage character and you were saying this is all because of angst, there would be moments where like the facade fades away and you see what he's been trying to hide or something.
Yes.
But that never happens.
No. He's just too cool. He's just cooler than all of us.
Yeah.
I think those initial JoJos are pretty one-dimensional. Like Jonathan is good. Joseph is, I don't know the right adjective to describe him. And
Joseph?
then
A Nazi.
Jotaro is just cool.
Nazi sympathizer.
No, Joseph is just such a like what is it called? Just like a little crazy little punk.
Hmm.
He's just sort of an opportunist. He's like, Nazis are on my
opportunist is
side.
a good
Okay,
word for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's not much complexity with, I think, a lot of them.
I don't think that complexity is the strength of this show. I think this show survives off of just
when
absurdity.
I swear to God, dude, you can go on YouTube and you can find hours of people analyzing these characters as though they are complex, and I'm like, they are not. You are.
I'm sure
it's all conjecture, dude. It's
I'm
all
sure
conjecture.
there's some thought behind it, but a lot of it is just flying by the seat of his pants,
just- yeah,
which I
he's
think
just
is
having-
what makes it great too.
He's just having fun.
Yeah.
It's entertainment, but it is not good writing. That's for sure.
Well, it's good writing if it entertains a bunch of people.
Yeah, I guess what's the purpose? Is it? Yeah, it's not
The
art.
purpose is
right?
not
Or-
to. Well, artists create.
It is art.
Okay,
yeah,
well, let
it's
me put
art.
it this way. Yeah, it is art.
It's
Absolutely.
not high art.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's not
what
high art.
is literature?
What is literature? That's what I was
What is
going to ask.
literature?
Yeah.
I mean,
God
I think
damn
some
it.
of it is also like you're saying how he likes to draw humans in awkward forms.
Yes.
I think probably part of what carries the story also is just what he gets to draw.
Yes. No, you're 100%
You're saying
right.
people like. So I want to say that this anime or this manga is probably targeted at young Japanese men between the ages of like probably 15 to like 30.
Yeah,
Agreed.
So we're really standing behind the fact that this is just gay erotica.
I think
Yes.
so.
And I think that's reasonable. Look how popular this gay erotica has become.
But it's,
This is probably the premier gay
humorous.
erotica in the world.
It's humorous gay erotica.
Yeah, humorous gay erotica. This guy has found his niche, and he has just continued to plow.
It's
Is
the
it
only
just-
one on the market.
Do we
love
know
it.
Iraqi's situation? Do we know if he's gay in real life or if he's married or anything?
Would
Do
it
we know any of
matter?
that?
You don't
No
have to be
idea.
gay to
But it can
write
help us
and
back
draw
up our
good gay
theory.
erotica.
The man just never ages. That's the only thing I know.
That's what I've heard too. Is that he's very youthful.
My point is if
looking him up,
any of
doing
the
some
four of us
research.
were to write and illustrate gay erotica, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're gay.
Yeah, he first
Just makes-
published this in Shonen Jump in 1987.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense
That's
to
how
me.
that's how long JoJo's been going.
So he saw Fist of the North Star. He said, "Damn, I'm gonna do that,
That,
but
but gayer."
a lot gayer." in
And
the '80s,
once
that's
again,
brave.
respect.
That's brave,
respect.
and I can respect him for that.
Hey people, this is John here, and I just want to let you know that even if you might be listening to a Patreon sponsored episode or a regular episode in the season, doesn't matter. We have stopped our Patreon for a while because Matt, Bran, and I are busy as hell. We might come back and make more episodes once we download some more content into our brains, but right now we've run out of things that we've already seen and are now having to watch and read new stuff, which is consuming more time than we really have right now. So we might put out more episodes after season 3. They might be a little more sporadic. However, we don't want to have anybody order any more episodes on the Patreon since we don't have time to record any. So don't worry about that. If you want to support us, the best way is to follow us on social media at YFCS Pod in Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're most active on Instagram, though. And the best way to support us, I think, is to let people know about it. We record a huge variety of episodes. So if you're an anime fan and you know your friends are anime fans, share our stuff with them. Or maybe you're an anime fan, but you don't really care about some of the sitcoms we do. Tell one of your friends who loves those sitcoms to check it out. Help us spread the podcast by word of mouth. Those are the ways that you can still support us even though we don't have a Patreon anymore. All right, everybody. I hope you're enjoying this season 3 episode, and I can't wait until y'all hear the best of the best season finale. So then we cannot do categories for this.
What are you talking about?
So sorry, we can't do our normal categories for this. But my question is, do we want to, here's the thing. Do we want to pick the character that holds closer to the values of like a well-written character that we,
Of
the
your
standard
favorite
we
character
usually,
sucks podcast?
and the one that might actually have a chance at competing in some way in like the best of the best episode at the end? Or do we want to pick a character that is Jojo?
First of all, I don't ever go meta, so I'll just pick who I want to pick.
But I'm saying, how do we decide the best character? Is it the character that is the most JoJo, or is it the best character written?
What if I'm offering a character that perhaps is both?
That's what I'm saying.
Cars.
Which character? You think Cars?
It's
Okay.
just Cars, dude.
How is Cars best written and also most JoJo?
Well, if we just established over the past 5 minutes that JoJo is gay erotica,
Yes.
Cars
Cars
is
the epitome of
is
that.
exemplary gay erotica. Nice feminine face features, 10-pack. I think his shoulders are literally just boulders that they inserted into his fucking laterals there.
Have you seen that ass?
Okay,
That
but
ass?
check this out. Check this out.
Uh-huh.
Cars might be the ideal for what the homosexual audience wants.
Uh-huh.
But Koichi is who the readers can identify with.
So
The
like
reader is Koichi,
Oh,
and they get to
shit.
hang out with all the buff dudes.
Koichi
Okay.
is the burgeoning young man who
the nerdy
He's the twink,
little,
yeah.
He's the twink.
the nerdy little gay man who gets to hang out with all the buff dudes. That's what
That's
you
true.
want.
But let's circle back around to the other half of that. I think that Cars is actually a really I think he's the best developed villain, which is a very strange thing to say.
Well, because the only other villain is Dio.
I guess that's true.
true.
But I actually do kind of like I said, the Central American vampire origin
Lore.
story.
Oh, for sure.
His lore is awesome. It's actually got some development behind it, and I do like the way how inadvertently, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but Cars was responsible for, in the long term, the death of the original Jojo, of Jonathan, just by creating the mask and thus creating that he's essentially the progenitor of Dio, right? Since he created all vampires and things of that sort.
All right, since we're all angling to
Yeah, everybody put in your arguments.
since we're all angling to prove that our character is the
Is
most
the gayest.
gayest. Yeah. Jonathan Joestar grows up at a time where he is forced to be hidden, to hide his true self. In the beginning, he's being his true self, but his father is constantly yelling at him and telling him, you've got to act this way and you've got to act that way and you've got to put on a front or whatever. And if you notice, the thing that sets him off the most is whenever Dio goes and kisses his girlfriend.
Oh, wait a second.
And so he's got to prove
It's because he's mad that Dio didn't kiss him.
am a straight
God.
I am a straight man, and straight men defend women. So he's got to go and
I
really
would hope
prove.
that anybody would defend anybody that's getting assaulted.
So and Jonathan Joestar, he has to prove his masculinity and his honor, and that he can fit in with his society. But really, deep down inside, he wants to be different. And he's not happy until he goes off with Zeppeli and the others and sort of gets to pal around with those guys. And he really starts to let loose. His character lets loose a little bit when he's with those guys.
he's also a rugby player, so
He's also a rugby
just
player.
likes to surround himself with other enormous jacked dudes.
Yeah. And despite Dio doing all these evil things to him, for some reason he still wants to be close with him. And so he just keeps forgiving him for all these things because maybe there's some kind of attraction there.
Literally, what are you doing, step bro? Sebastian, what do you got for us, bud?
God.
How is
so this
Rohan
scope.
the gayest
All right.
character?
So we're saying, guess who is more gay than the person who wrote all this homosexual erotica, or rather, the representation of that person, which, as I explained before, is what Rohan is. Also, I brought up his immaculate fashion sense.
His hair too.
Headbands, the hair, the cut off sleeves.
Is that not just being a mega artist? Is to also be hip? You either have to be incredibly hip or just a full neat. This is just two sides of the same coin.
The only thing that Rohan may love more than men are spiders. I think there's some sexual tension there with that licking.
Jesus.
He stabs a spider with like one of those X-Acto
I
pens.
forgot.
He picks it up and just starts licking it so he can get the essence of it.
Yeah.
When he
why
draws
does he do
it.
that? Ugh.
Yeah, it was very fucking weird.
Dang, dude.
But this week there's a short about Rohan. I think it just
saw
printed
that.
recently, and they just
I saw
released a
that.
trailer this week.
There's a little
For
spin-off.
coming to Netflix.
I just
Rohan's
can't
got
bring
a little
myself to
spin-off.
watch any more JoJo, and that's not a condemnation of the show. I actually
just not your
enjoyed the
style.
parts of the show I enjoyed. Yeah, it's just that, and the thing is, I embrace absurdity and weird scaling and stuff like that. I like Studio Trigger and stuff like that, but I just can't get into JoJo. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's very difficult for me. Like I said, I really enjoyed the first season.
But you love huge men.
I love huge.
But there's no
jacked
huge
dudes.
men after part 2 or part 3. They become daintier men.
They become That's probably what happened. Brand started
Still
me
shredded,
watching
but-
the shit with
Why does
Jarno,
the style change
and I'm like,
so
who is
much?
this? Yeah, who is this fucking twink? I want to see like giant jacked ass dudes, just roughing each other up.
Dudes being dudes.
Wait, that's the other thing. Okay, I was going to say one more thing about Jotaro. He gets the ability to turn back time just so he can beat Dio, and then he doesn't even use it in season 4.
Well, it's very
Does he
taxing
turn back
for
time?
her body
I
or his
honestly
body, right?
don't remember what happened.
Freeze time, I mean.
Oh, well, he does use it in part 4.
He almost never, and it lasts for less amount of time, and I think he even says in it, like,
It's
I
because
haven't
he
really
hasn't been
practiced with it.
practicing. Yeah.
What the fuck? If you could stop time, that would be the thing you always do. What do you mean you haven't practiced it?
It's just like how Joseph forgets Haman, you know?
It doesn't make sense, bro. You got the power to stop time.
Stopping time is a mediocre ability, bro.
Oh my god.
No, because it puts an immense physical strain on your body. It's like less than 5 seconds. You have to like...
Yeah.
I
Make it
when you
across
get older,
the room
it
in the
gets fun.
time.
This
that-
one,
Also, if you're not evil and you're not using it to fight Dio, when else
Yeah.
do you need it?
Correct.
but no,
when
but
fighting
this,
that rat that almost killed him, I guess.
Yeah.
this story I do buy because I heard it from multiple different videos that I was watching, which is that Araki got into the fight with Dio, and Dio can stop
Araki?
time. Araki, yeah. Araki got into the fight with Dio, and Dio can stop time, and he legitimately, like, I think he admitted it in like an interview, like he did not know how to beat Dio. He was like, I don't know how, like, that power is too good. I don't know how to beat it. And so he literally just gave it to Jotaro so that he could beat Dio. That's the only reason he got that power.
Honestly, I think that's how a lot of it's written, though.
I know, but
Just
that's
seeing
so
what-
bad.
No,
It
no,
is,
no.
but-
Your power rises to meet your challenge, dude.
Come on, dude.
Isn't that what you're about, John? You said people always rise to expectations. So
yeah, but
look,
I can't fly just because I'm falling down the Grand Canyon.
how do you know?
Oh
Yeah.
God. Okay,
Have
I'll
you
go
ever
jump down
fucking
real
tried
quick.
it?
Through
Let me go jump
willpower,
down real quick.
anything is possible, dude.
If this is the only episode that comes out in season 3, it's because I tried to jump down the
He
Grand
willed
Canyon and fly.
himself to stop time, and he did it. It's that simple.
All I know is I saw cars literally slice bullets in half. So if you can do that shit, you can fly out of the fucking Grand Canyon, bro.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Okay.
true.
So
right.
have we talked enough about JoJo? Can we decide which of these 4 characters? Because it has to be one of these 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously. Well, okay. Honorable mentions: Lisa, and Ario Speedwagon.
Do like me some Speedwagon, absolutely.
Okay, well, Speedwagon is also kind of just an incidental character, right? He's just there
Yeah,
to
but he
like.
says a bunch of funny shit, so you got to give him the.
He's the 007 character that just provides him with gadgets.
Yeah, absolutely. Speedwagon.
The Speedwagon Corporation or whatever.
Yeah, he's like the. He's like.
He's from my
Lean
favorite
Enterprises
Jonathan.
or something.
He gets introduced in my favorite all-time scene of the entire series,
Yeah, which scene
which
is
is
that? Tell us.
Jonathan's got a knife to his throat, and he tells that dude that that by the time he cuts him, he will have kicked him in the groin with all the force of a sledgehammer.
Well, it's
And
because Speedwagon has a sledgehammer.
no, Speedwagon is standing in the background. Speedwagon has a hat with knives on it that he also never uses again past that scene.
Whoa, they're not knives. It's like a
Blades.
saw hat. Yeah.
Yeah, which is also 007 inspired because there's a
I
character.
always thought that was like the reverse of the, that stupid kung fu contraption that has the saw blades on the inside that chops your head off.
There's a 007 character. I can't remember his name. I think it's Domino or something. But yeah, he's got a hat that when he throws it, it slices people.
Yeah, correct. Lame.
Well, that's what inspired
that
that
is what it
one
is.
scene. That one scene of R.O. Speedwagon because he never used it again. But yeah, he because Jonathan Joestar kicks that dude's groin with all the force of a sledgehammer, it convinces R.O. Speedwagon to fucking follow him for life.
Well, I mean, he was just a regular
Street
he
rat.
was a level 1 thug before that. So
Yeah, shit.
But then look at what he became.
he
Yeah.
became very powerful.
That's the magnetism of Jonathan Joestar.
I do agree with that. That's
All right. Yeah, so Lisa, is she just the best female character because there aren't any competition? Like, what are you
Yes.
saying about Lisa?
yeah.
What do
Well,
you like about her brand? Because
She's
to
also
me,
a
I've
Ripple
forgotten
master,
her.
right? Doesn't she like
Yeah,
master?
exactly.
Yeah,
she
She's a
trains
Hamon
Pretty
Joseph.
master.
badass.
Yeah.
We just needed to see more of her.
Okay, but she trains Joseph, then she serves as like a plot device, but she also just gets her ass handed to her. Like
Well,
when
to
she
be
she has to
fair,
fight, she gets her ass just handed to her.
Everybody gets their ass handed to them by cars.
Not Joseph?
Joseph wins by a fluke. That's
Mm.
the whole joke of the whole of the ending of that is that in a straight up fight, there's no way Joseph can actually beat cars. It just happened
by random circumstance.
Yeah, I just wanted to see Lisa, like, if she's this master, like, show her mastery in some way.
Oh, no, I would have loved that.
Yeah, but that's not what it's about.
But then that takes away from the dudes, so...
Yeah, exactly. You can't have a slim, petite woman do something that a giant jack dude can't do. That doesn't make sense.
I mean, I'll get soft.
Lisa slaying a vampire would have been so badass.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
But I wouldn't have been able to maintain an erection during those scenes, so...
I mean, I would have, but...
the Harmon would have been pulsing through you.
Yeah, exactly.
God damn it.
Also, didn't he like spy on her while she was bathing or something?
That's something
before
that
he
happened.
knew he was related to her.
That's worse than like Luke
He was
kissing
ready to
Leia.
smash.
That's fucking gross. I don't like this shit. But yeah, that's the best female character in this entire show. So there you go, fellas.
I mean, the only two are her and the hair lady in part 4.
Granny Joestar or whatever.
Wait, Granny Chio?
No, Granny Joestar. She's Joseph's grandmother.
Susie Q.
Yeah.
No, Susie Q is Joseph's wife, girlfriend.
God, who knows?
I'm talking about the old lady that the one that was with Jonathan. Jonathan's wife, who was only married for literally a week before he dies on that boat.
Yeah, it's so sad.
And Lisa was the other baby on that boat.
Yeah.
Anyway, so random.
Any other cool characters though? For real?
That's the other thing. Is there are female Joestars who apparently just get skipped over by all this like magic and power, right? Because Joseph has a daughter and she gets skipped over.
Jotaro's mom just gets sick and is dying the whole show.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very lame.
That's what I'm
Maybe
saying.
If they were more jacked and also men, they could take a front seat.
So yeah, that's a good question. Does she have a penis? Is she like she identifies
Miss
female?
Cujo? I probably.
Wait, Jolene Cujo?
Yes.
Okay.
Jotaro's
She's
Jotaro
Jotaro's
Cujo.
daughter.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, she's pretty toned, but
she looks like one of those.
I think it's
like,
less about the penis and more about the muscle mass.
The muscle mass is very important, I will admit.
Does she look like the female bodybuilders?
And who has more muscle mass than Cars? No one. Ultimate human. Not human. Ultimate being. Pillar Man.
I'm gonna base my choice off of like our traditional stuff, but also off of JoJo-ness and also homoerotica.
I'm basing my decision off of my tradition of selecting the character I think is the best.
But if we do that, then we'll all pick the same our character. No one will.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Is everybody ready? Does everybody definitively know who the best character in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is? Because I do. Sebastian?
yes.
Brandon?
Yes.
Okay. John? Count us down, John.
Yes, I think so. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Cars.
Koichi.
Oh, we got a Cars Koichi tie.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Who said what?
I said Cars, and
I
so
also
did Matt.
said Cars.
I knew Matt would say Cars. I just
me and Seb are sticking with part 4.
The thing is, I think that Cars is the best villain of the best part of the show. And I
Yes.
think that has value.
Yes, me too. And I also think the homoerotica value.
I agree with that.
Hugely homoerotic.
I still just think that Koichi is
Koichi hands down is the best from part 4.
the only
Character?
like,
Good
compelling
character.
protagonist.
Everybody else is just a cardboard cutout, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it is.
We're not having.
I'm satisfied with leaving that as a tie.
I
nice,
will
all right.
switch. I do not want 2 JoJo characters in our best of episode.
Why not? That's how
There's
it worked
no
out.
fucking way.
I'm just going to reference the scene where Cars manages to ascend to ultimate godhood, and he's just rainbow pouring forth from his entire body. You see his like rippling abs. His pecs are literally bigger than his fucking head.
Okay, all right.
God, I wish I looked like that, man.
All right, here's the thing. I do think Koichi is the best from part 4. And I do think Koichi is actually a good character. But I can't switch from Cars because I do agree that if I'm going with my gut, I think Cars best character, most JoJo, most homoerotic from the best
He also
part.
has a good conclusion. I think the way he gets killed is
and
very fitting.
He's not on the side of Nazis, which there's a point.
Correct.
Right there.
He is not on the side of Nazis.
True.
So
Which,
I
to be
can't
fair,
switch.
Koichi
Neither
is
is
not.
Koichi.
Yeah, Koichi is not also a Nazi, but
I cannot switch. So
I think he does have a more satisfying ending. As Koichi, you don't. I mean, he doesn't have an ending because he's not dead, but you see him a little in part 5.
I do agree Koichi's the best protagonist.
Cars gets what he deserves.
I would say
exactly
if I was not trying to pick a more JoJo character, if I was just basing it purely on like literary value, I would probably pick Koichi.
That's fair.
But I'm doing it all. I'm combining it all, and I think Cars fits the mold the best for all of it.
Yes, a bigger bulge.
All right.
So no one's willing to switch. We're really gonna have a fucking 2 JoJo characters.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, and we gotta have at least one tie every season. So
yeah, but this is the first episode, so now we can't have any more ties.
We're really not leaving ourselves a lot of space there.
I can't believe it. We did it again. We figured out who the best character is in whatever we're talking about, despite the podcast being called Your Favorite Character Sucks. Now the only question is, what should we do next? You can help us decide by following us at YFCS Pod on Instagram and Twitter and telling us which show, movie, series, book you think we should do. Until then, hit that subscribe button and catch us on the next episode. Thanks for listening.